Okay, good morning. So we'll discuss about agricultural income and tax implications. Before we proceed, further into this topic, we need to understand the basic taxability of income from agricultural operations. Some of you have attended my class, or maybe you would have had a chance to go through my video classes regarding income which are exempt from tax. Incomes which are exempt from tax. The first income which is exempt from tax is agricultural income. Very, very fundamental aspect in income tax. If you are going to carry out an agricultural operation, and if you are going to earn an income out of that, that income is fully exempt from tax. So this topic is going to deliberate further on different types of agricultural income. What I mean to say by different types of agricultural income means an agricultural income can be purely an agricultural operation, or can be having a combination of some manufacturing activity. For example, you are having a tea estate or a coffee estate. You are growing tea. The tea is an agricultural operation. Growing tea is an agricultural operation. And you sell the tea leaves as such. Then it is income from agricultural operation. It is fully exempt from tax. But if you are going to process it further and make it into tea packets and sell it as a tea packet, then we need to understand how to determine the taxable income, because it is a composite income sort of. It has got both agricultural operations and non-agricultural operation, which is manufacturing activity also. Similarly, if you are growing sugarcane and if you are going to sell sugarcane as such, then it is agricultural operation. Whereas if you are going to process the sugarcane further and make sugar out of it, manufacture sugar out of it, then you are carrying out a composite activity, agricultural plus non-agricultural activity. So how to determine income in such a case is what we are going to discuss. So very fundamental rule in income taxes, agricultural operation, income from agricultural operation is exempt from tax. Now, there was a basic question 2 years before as to whether operating a nursery, you know what is a nursery? Not a nursery school. You know, nursery means where you grow plant. So operating a nursery, whether it is an agricultural activity. So the basic issue that comes up frequently in the court of law is what is an agricultural activity, what is not an agricultural activity. For example, in the next door, you have open vacant plant. And there are a lot of trees and weeds and all grown up. So you want to cut the trees and sell the trees. Is it an agricultural income? In the next door, you have a lot of trees grown, and automatically it has grown and it has grown very high. So maybe the owner of the plot wants to cut the tree and sell the tree, logs, wooden logs, for some 10,000 rupees. Is that an agricultural income? What will be your answer?
No, sir.
No,
No, sir.
not an agricultural income. If it is not an agricultural income, why it is not an agricultural income?
Sir, unless it is carried out by a farmer, it's not agriculture.
Oh, okay. So, unless it is grown by a farmer and carried out by a farmer, we got a feedback or view that it is not an agricultural income. You all agree to that? So, for example, I'll tell this in a different way. This is a vacant land. I am growing crop, some crop. As a farmer, I am growing crop. The crop grows. I cut the crop. I sell the crop. Is it an agricultural operation? Yes. So, if what Srihari says is that if you are a farmer and if you are going to carry out an agricultural operation, then only the income is exempt from tax. So, you need to be a farmer. Am I a farmer? Can I do that? I mean, can I do that exercise of growing some crop and cut it and sell it? For me, is it an agricultural income or not? Let us say I am doing it. For me, it is an agricultural income or not an agricultural income? Am I a farmer? Need not be. Who is a farmer? Okay, we go by the definition of farmer means who regularly does the agricultural operations and all that, but I am doing it once in a way. So I may not be a farmer, but I still carry out some activity. And that income is an agricultural income. So the question is whether or not you are a farmer or not is not the question. Whether or not you're carrying out an agricultural operation is a question. Very interesting point. If I'm going to carry out an agricultural operation includes a lot of things: watering, planting, de-weeding, cutting, plucking, cleaning, all that. So you know what a farmer normally does. Agricultural operation is a wider concept which involves a lot of activities. So if I'm going to carry out agricultural operations and if I'm going to get income out of that, then it is exempt from tax. Now the earlier example what I gave, there are a lot of trees grown automatically. Grass வளர்ந்திருக்கு. இது small plot of land. இதே ஒரு 10 plot of land எங்கிட்ட இருக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. I cut it and sell it. Is it an agricultural income? The answer is no. Why it is no? Because you are not carrying out any agricultural operations in it. You are just cutting the tree and you are just selling it as it is. You are earning an income out of it. So you don't call it as technically an agricultural income. Yes. So very interesting. To call something as an agricultural income, you need to carry out an agricultural operation. That is very, very important. So the basic question that came to court of law, I'm starting off with that straight away, is that in case in a nursery where you grow plant and sell it and generate some income out of that, is it an agricultural income? Yes. Because, why do you say yes? You are carrying out some agricultural operation. So you are putting a seed, it is growing, you are cleaning up, you are watering it, you are ensuring it's growing well. And this came to court of law. The question of whether such income is agricultural income, and the court decided in a nursery, if you're going to operate a nursery, it involves some agricultural activity and hence it is an agricultural income. In fact, interestingly, you will not believe, before this issue came up as to whether nursery activity is an agricultural activity, before this, the definition was not covering nursery activity. But after the court decided, the definition of agricultural income itself included, including nursery activity, is an agricultural income. Normally, if you understand the basics of law, we have discussed sometimes, the law is basically the source of law is also from judicial decisions. So the court decided that income arising out of nursery activity is an agricultural income and hence it is exempt from tax. Consequently, the section itself was amended, incorporating this definition with the add-on point of it includes nursery income. And not only that, we have to understand what is an agricultural income and all that in detail by going through some definition. So I gave you a general point that if you are carrying out an agricultural operation and earning some income out of that, it is an agricultural income. There are a lot more aspects into defining an agricultural income. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? Okay, so there are 2-3 things in this topic we are going to cover, very important things. What is agricultural income? What is not agricultural income? Definition and all that. Secondly, we are going to discuss about how are we supposed to determine agricultural income in case of a composite activity, where it's a combination of agricultural and non-agricultural activity. The third important aspect is, in income tax, while agricultural income is exempt from tax, it will be considered for the purpose of determining the rate of tax. What does it mean? I'll tell you. I'll give an example. Mr. X has got agricultural income of 5 lakhs. And non-agricultural income of 10 lakhs. Now, what is the gross total income? 15 lakhs. Now, interestingly, normally, when we say an income is exempt from tax, we don't even include it in income, correct? Income exempt from tax, you don't even consider it as an income. That means you ignore it. But in this case, you don't do that. This is called special treatment of agricultural income, where you have to first add the agricultural, non-agricultural income, and then determine tax on this. Carefully observe. Very important point. I'm just briefly telling you. You have to declare what is your agricultural income and non-agricultural income. Assume it's all taxable. and determine tax on above. So on 15 lakhs, let us say you are calculating tax as per slab rates. Let us say you're getting a tax of 2 lakhs. And then you have to reduce tax on agricultural income plus the basic slab of 2 lakh 50. Agricultural income எவ்வளவு 5 lakhs. Basic slab எவ்வளவு so 7 lakh 50. அதுக்கு என்ன tax கண்டுபிடிக்கணும் அதை மைனஸ் பண்ணணும். Let me repeat, this is a very important procedure. I'm just giving you a simple brief only. We'll go to the details of it a little later. While determining agricultural income and non-agricultural income, when you get the gross total income, less deductions, etc., you have to calculate tax and tax on agricultural income and exempt income. So 2 lakh 50 is the basic exemption. Agricultural income is 5 lakhs. So 7 lakh 50, let us say 50,000 tax. That's less to balance of payable tax is what? 1 lakh. This is something what we call it as integration of agricultural income for the limited purpose of determination of tax. This is the special treatment of agricultural income under income tax. All of you are able to follow? Let me repeat. While agricultural income is exempt from tax, which means it is not even considered as an income generally speaking, but agricultural income has got a special treatment. While it is exempt from tax, the exemption is not given upfront. It is done in a different way. How it is done? Calculate tax on all income, including agricultural income, and then reduce tax on agricultural income. So it is a sort of a circuitous process which you have to adopt for the purpose of determination of overall tax paid. For the purpose of determination of overall tax payable. We'll go through that in detail as we progress. So three major aspects. What is agricultural income? Definition, meaning, what is an agricultural activity, what is not an agricultural activity, all that. Secondly, how are we going to identify the composite income concept? And thirdly, integration of agricultural income for the purpose of determination of tax. Clear? Okay, all of you are clear, online students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is just a broad summary of what we are going to discuss in this topic, whatever I told you. So we'll be discussing in a lot more detail now. Okay. Okay, let's continue now. So make a note. According to section 10 subsection 1, section 10 subsection 1, agricultural income is exempt from tax. Exempt from tax. According to section 2(1)(a), very important section. This is definition of agricultural income. According to section 2(1)(a), agricultural income means very important definition. Okay, whenever there is a question on agricultural income, you just write the definition, whatever may be the question. So important definition, because that is what is going to explain us what is agricultural income, what is not agricultural income. Correct? So according to section 2(1)(a), any rent, any rent or revenue, derived from land which is situated in India. Is situated in India. Very important. Underline the word situated in India. இப்போ எக்ஸாம்ல என்ன ஆகும்னா, நார்மலா நம்ம எங்க எக்ஸாம்ல ஸ்டக் ஆகும் அப்படின்னா, மிஸ்டர் எக்ஸ் ஹேட் அன் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் லேண்ட் இன் சிங்கப்பூர்ம்பா எடுத்தோன்னே. அந்த சிங்கப்பூர் பார்த்தோன்னே டென்ஷன் ஆடும். என்னடா அது சிங்கப்பூருங்கிறானே, எந்த வில்லங்க இருக்குதுல. நார்மலா எக்ஸாம் கண்டிஷன்ஸ்ல நமக்கு வந்து ஒரு தெளிவா கொடுத்தா ஈஸியா போயிடும். பட் ஏதாவது இது மாதிரி they bring in something, no, then we start thinking. So you need to know, if you got an agricultural land in Singapore and you're earning income out of that, is it exempt? No. You cannot write agricultural income is exempt from tax. Okay, so we have to be very clear. So underline the word in India. Any rent or revenue derived from land which is situated in India and is used for agricultural purposes. Any rent or revenue from land. You can actually get rent from land or revenue from land. Tamil, there is a concept called lease or puttagai enna solluvom. Puttagai. Puttagai na enna artham? That is, you are giving your land to someone to carry out agricultural operations for which is going to give you some rent or revenue. So you are the owner, but you don't carry out agricultural operation. You may give it to someone else. Okay, so any rent or revenue derived from land is agricultural income. And second point, any income derived from such land by agricultural operations. Any, first point I said, any rent or revenue derived from land which is situated in India, I told you that, and is used for agricultural purpose. Okay. The next point is any income derived from such land any income derived from such land by agricultural operations. So underline the word agricultural operations. Agricultural operations, including processing of the agricultural produce. Produce means agricultural land varudhukku per produce nu solluvom. In fact, there is a company called producer company or producer company. Have you heard of that? You know, anyone knows what is a producer company? Have you heard of a producer company? PRODUCER. Producer nu sollaam, producer nu sollaam. Ena produce nu நம்ம define பண்றோம் இல்லையா? Produce. So agricultural produce, manufacturing product. So the produce ங்கிறது, if you are going to operate a company for agricultural produce, then it's called a producer company or producer company. Okay, this is for general understanding. Any income derived from such land by agricultural operations. Underline the word agricultural operations. I already told you that you have to carry out what? Agricultural operations, including processing of the agricultural produce, so including processing of the agricultural produce. Now interestingly, this is not doing some manufacturing activity. This is called basic processing. Normally what we say, in order to make it marketable, in order to make a product marketable, you need to do some basic processing. Cleaning. நீங்க உங்க let us say உங்க லேண்ட்ல வந்து நீங்க வந்து பேடி grow பண்றீங்க. இந்த பேடி வந்து கட் பண்ணி அப்படியே வித்துற முடியுமா? அதுக்குன்னு சில ப்ராசஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ பேடியை ட்ரை பண்ணி, நீங்கெல்லாம் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க வில்லேஜ் சைடில். கரெக்ட்? வில்லேஜ் சைடில் போனால் என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? பேடியை காய வச்சு அதுக்கப்புறம் அதை த்ராஷ் பண்ணி they'll take it out separately. So there is so much of work involved in it. So that is what we call as processing. It has nothing to do with some manufacturing activity. Okay. Processing of the agricultural produce, raised or received as rent in kind. Very important. Raised or received. One general instruction to all of you. You know that this pandemic issue is still hovering around. Yeah, all of you are very much aware. So there are serious threats And I'm hearing that my relatives are getting it and all that. Yesterday also I got a message that one of my relative in Mylapore has got it. So my neighbor has got it. He has got fever, cough, cold and all that. So my general request to all of you is that in case you feel unwell, you kindly attend online. In case any one of you feels unwell, you have some fever, cough, cold. So without going, see today what is happening is nobody is going and probably testing it out. Correct? Because people feel that testing is not happening in a big way. So my request to all of you for safety of all concerned, including me, if every one of us, in case we are unwell or not feeling good or cough, cold, fever, etc., kindly attend from online. Okay, so that is for everyone's good, and this is a general instruction because I am having a feeling that it is still building up momentum slowly, and in fact, you will not believe. So quickly, I'll finish off. Last April and all, when the second wave started, it started in a jiffy. They said, அப்படியே வருதுப்பா தோப்பானா அவ்வளவுதான் ஜும்முன்னு போயிடுது. It went beyond control. You all know that. So as a safety precaution, okay, general point only, because I thought I'll share this with you. Okay, and always wear N95 mask ideally. Ideally. Wherever you go. I'm talking about your personally also wherever you go. Don't hesitate to wear a N95 mask. Online students, all of you are hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Kindly make sure. So I think you all will agree, yes or no? Online students, do you all agree with what I say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So kindly wear this N95 mask, which gives a, don't wear any cloth mask. Single-use mask is okay for a short visit to a shop or etc. But when you're attending a 2-3 hour class or whatever, moving out, kindly wear this. I know it's tough. I know, I mean, even I'm finding it very difficult to wear this and speak, but I don't have a choice. Better safe than sorry. So I request all of you to wear an N95 mask, carry a sanitizer with you. We have at the entrance also. You can use that. But also personally, you carry a sanitizer and all follow all safety protocols. In case you're able to maintain distance, you can maintain it. We have a big hall, so try to maintain. Try to maintain distancing. Let us follow the safety protocols. Okay, good. So I'll repeat this point. Any income derived from such land by agricultural operations, including processing of the agricultural produce raised or received as rent in kind, so as to render it fit for the market. Render it fit for the market. That is, it is to be marketable. So as to render it fit for market. So as to render it fit for market. Or sale of such produce. So you are going to carry out some basic processing which will make it fit for what? Marketing. In fact, we had even now we have something called central excise. Have you heard of central excise? Central excise duty no உண்டு முன்னாடி. இப்போ எல்லாமே GST வந்திருக்கு. There are very few products on which there is a central excise. For levy of central excise, the basic criteria is the product should be marketable. Any marketable product, there is a central excise. A product, if it is not marketable, there is no central excise. The paddy which is cut and its raw form, it is not marketable. So no excise duty. But you process it and do it, then that's marketable. So this is just to make you understand the concept called marketable. Clear? So whenever you are going to receive rent in kind, so you may know that even today, I think the prevalent practice in agricultural operation is you may receive rent in cash or in kind. இந்தாங்க சார் விளைஞ்சிருக்கு 10 மூட்டை அப்படின்னு கொடுப்பாங்க. குத்தகை, I use the word lease. You are giving a lease, they may pay you 10,000 rupees cash or they may give you 10 bags of rice. So it is called rent in kind. So agricultural income can be in cash form or rent in kind. Third point, Income attributable to a farmhouse subject to certain conditions. Attributable to a farmhouse subject to certain conditions. What is this? Income attributable to a farmhouse. What is a farmhouse? Subject to conditions and run. What is a farmhouse? Any idea what is a farmhouse?
Sir, where they store their materials, it's situated near the land, farmland.
Okay. Where? புரியல கோழி எல்லாம் வளர்க்கறதுலாம் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் ஓகே ஸோ இந்த கிராமத்தில் அந்த கோழி வளர்க்குறது ஆடு வளர்க்குறது அதெல்லாம் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் ஓகே ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் ஐ திங்க் ஸ்ரீஹரி யூஆர் ரைட் யூஆர் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் க்ளோஸ் டு இட் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் வை ஐம் ஆஸ்கிங் திஸ் கொஸ்டின் இஸ் இன் சென்னை சிட்டி லைக் பிளேஸ் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ்னா நான் வாரம் வீக்கெண்டு ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் போவேன் சோழிங்கநல்லூர்ல இருக்கு நான் 2 நாள் தங்கிட்டு வருவேன் அது ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு பங்களா ஆனால் அது பேர் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் நான் நிறைய மரம் இருந்தால் ஒரு ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் அது ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் அங்கேயும் கோழியெல்லாம் இருக்கும் ஏன்னா ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸுங்கிற ஃபீல் அந்த ஃபார்ம்ங்கிறது அங்கே கோழி ஆடெல்லாம் கூட வச்சுருப்பாங்க மாடெல்லாம் வச்சுருப்பாங்க நீங்கள் போய் ஒரு வீக்கெண்டு போனீங்கன்னா ஃப்ரம் அவே ஃப்ரம் த ஹசில் அண்ட் பசில் ஆஃப் த சிட்டி போயிட்டு ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு 2 days ரிலாக்ஸ்டாக மரத்துக்கு கீழே உட்காந்துட்டு வரலாம் ஸோ ஐ எம் டெம்டட் டு டெல் யூ அ ஸ்டோரி திஸ் வாஸ் டோல்ட் பை அ டாக்டர் ஒன் popular doctor, heart specialist, cardiologist. So in my earlier company, he came for a session, humor in medicine, into a session. So he used to narrate a lot of simple humorous stories. He told us one. There was a guy who was actually lying under a tree. So who was lying under a tree and relaxing. And relaxing, maybe a small cot. He's relaxing under the tree. There was a passerby, a gentleman. So this guy was an young guy, 25-year-old guy, and the gentleman was 50-year-old or whatever. So he was crossing that person and he found this guy on a pure daytime on a weekday. He's under the tree relaxing. He came to the gentleman came to the guy. Hey, what are you doing here? I just could see that, no? Just lying and taking some break. How old are you? 25-year-old. You're not going to work. You've studied, hopefully. Yeah, I've studied. So you're not going for a job. No, I'm not going for a job. What happened? All youngsters like you are working and earning. Why are you not going for a job? Then the guy asked, okay, sir, fine. What do you expect me to do? So if I go for a job, what I'll get? You'll get paid. Good salaries nowadays they're paying you, you'll get very well paid. To go for a job, you'll get well paid. And okay, sir, no issues. I do understand I'll get well paid. So maybe 2 lakhs per month or whatever. What should I do with that? Hey, what? Come on, what are you asking? You can enjoy your life. You can take a car, go on a trip. You can go on a ship cruise. And you can relax whole life later. So what are you talking about? He said. So that's what I'm doing now, sir. He gave a reply. When the gentleman said, you can relax later. Then he said, instead of relaxing later, I'm relaxing now. That's all. I don't know whether it looks like a joke. At least that's the way I normally narrate a joke. Unfortunately, the doctor would have told it, would have felt it like a joke. But as an auditor, I don't know whether I'm able to crack a joke correctly. Does it look like a joke? No? யாருமே சிரிக்கவே இல்லையப்பா ஏன்னா ஆன்லைன் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் நீங்க சிரிக்கிறீங்களா இல்லையான்னு தெரியல ஸோ தி யங் guy told the gentleman, sir, whatever you are talking about, he said, you can do this, you can do that, you can go on a ship cruise, you can relax your life and all that. That is what I'm doing it now. Why are you worried? அப்படின்னா ஸோ இந்த மரத்துக்கு ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ்னோட எனக்கு அந்த ஸ்டோரி தான் ஞாபகம் வருது ஸோ தட் இஸ் நாட் அ ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் த ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் இஸ் நத்திங் டு டூ வித் வாட் யூ கோ ஹர் த வீக்கெண்ட் கெட் அவே it is a house. You know what is generally a house? And which is situated near the agricultural land, and that is intended for storage of some fertilizers, pesticides, and produce and all that. So it is more used for agricultural operations, to facilitate agricultural operations. Sometimes you may even give that on a rental. for carrying out agricultural operations. That is also what income? Agricultural income. But the same farmhouse, if you give for a movie shooting, வானத்தை போல அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு படம் ஆர் என்ன படம் விஜயகாந்த் படம் ஃபேமஸ் படம் உண்டாச்சு சின்ன கவுண்டர் அந்த படம் ஷூட்டிங் அந்த ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸை கொடுத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அது அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கமா கிடையாது பிகாஸ் இட் இஸ் நாட் யூஸ் ஃபார் agricultural operations. Understood? Any doubts? Next. Any income derived from saplings or seedlings. Next point. Any income derived from saplings or seedlings grown in a nursery shall be deemed to be an agricultural income. Seedlings grown in a nursery shall be deemed to be an agricultural income. So underline the word deemed. So the law has taken a position after the court decision that such income is also deemed to be an agricultural income. So it is exempt from tax. Rent or revenue derived from land. The following are the conditions to be fulfilled. That is, rent or revenue is exempt, derived from land. The conditions to be fulfilled. 1. Rent or revenue should be derived from land, maybe in cash or in kind. Maybe in cash or in kind. Second, the land is one which is situated in India and the land is used for agricultural purposes. And the land is used for agricultural purposes. If you fulfill these 3 conditions, then the land revenue, rent or revenue derived from land is agricultural income and exempt from tax. The land is used for agricultural purposes. Okay, so I already explained you in detail what is an agricultural operation. Pruning, growing, de-weeding, watering, all that comes under agricultural activities. Clear? So unless you carry out agricultural activity, it is not an agricultural income. Another thing I want to ask you, what is an agricultural land and what is a non-agricultural land? சரி இப்ப பக்கத்துல இருக்க லேண்ட் இருக்கு இல்லையா இஸ் இட் an agricultural land? No. So can't I do any growing of paddy here? So you think paddy will not grow in the soil? Did you check it? Or how did you say so? Urban area, rural area is different. I am asking you whether it is an agricultural land or a non-agricultural land. Not an agricultural land. No. Can I do an agricultural operation in this land? இது வந்து ஸ்மால் பிளாட் ஆஃப் லேண்ட் இது மாதிரி ஒரு 4 பிளாட் இருக்குன்னா அதுல நான் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் சிட்டியில நீங்க அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் ஆப்ரேஷன் பண்றாங்க ஒரு சில பேர் தெரியுமா உங்களுக்கு நியூஸ்ல எல்லாம் கூட வந்திருக்கு எங்கேயோ நான் படிச்சேன் யாரோ ஒருத்தர் வந்து ஒரு பீஸ் ஆஃப் லேண்ட்ல அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் ஆக்டிவிட்டி சிட்டிக்குள்ள பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு அப்ப அது அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் லேண்டா இல்லையா Now interestingly a land of course you need to test it whether something will grow and all that is okay. A land is classified as agricultural or non-agricultural based on revenue records of the government. So not by English terminology of whether I can go something here. So to call this as an agricultural land, then the revenue record should classify it as an agricultural land. That is where you can carry on agricultural operations and all in general. But nobody can stop you from carrying on an agricultural operation of a plot of land. So that is the difference I want to explain you. So when do you call something as an agricultural land? If it is classified so by the revenue authorities and so on, government. அது எதுக்குன்னா நிறைய டாக்ஸேஷன் பர்பஸஸ்லாம் அது யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. கிளாசிஃபிகேஷன் ரெசிடென்ஷியல் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் அப்படின்னு. ஸோ அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி டாக்ஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஜென்ரல் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் தான். ஓகே, ஸோ generally you need to know what is an agricultural land. So this you can, any land you can do agriculture, of course subject to soil conditions. ஏன்னா நிறைய லேண்ட் வந்து களிமண்ணா இருக்கும், அங்க போய் நம்ம ஆபரேஷன்ஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. சில இடத்துல சில டைப் ஆஃப் பிளான்ட் களிமண்ல கூட பண்ணலாம். So you can do agricultural activity in any land. So you cannot say this is not an agricultural land just because you cannot grow something. No, just because it is so classified for revenue records. This is for ஏன்னா capital gains நம்ம பார்த்திருப்போம். In the topic called capital gains, if you sell an agricultural land in a rural area, it is exempt from tax. So upon the classification, government records in a classification. This is for general understanding. All of you clear? So let's proceed further. Examples I'll give you now. Okay, income from farmhouse, what I told you. And operations, farm building. What is a farm building? The building should be occupied by the cultivator. What is a farm building or farmhouse? The building should be occupied by the cultivator. One question normally guaranteed in agricultural income, 5 marks weightage. The building should be occupied by the cultivator as a landlord or as a tenant. Or as a tenant. Or receiver of rent in kind. Or receiver of rent in kind. Rent in kind. So you may even receive it as a rent in kind, receiver of rent in kind. So I'll repeat, the building should be occupied by the cultivator as a landlord or as a tenant and used for agricultural purposes. Or the building should be occupied by the cultivator or as a landlord or as a tenant or receiver of rent in kind. Okay, so who should occupy the farmhouse? Either the owner or somebody to whom you have let it out. So who is going to use it for agricultural operations? Or you may receive rent in cash or rent in kind. Secondly, it should be in or immediate vicinity of the land situated in India and used for agricultural purposes. It should be in immediate vicinity of the land where you are carrying out agricultural operations. What does it mean? If a farmhouse is situated somewhere else, not in the vicinity of the land where you are carrying out agricultural operations, then that doesn't fit in the definition of a farmhouse. So இதுதான் எனக்கு லேண்ட்னா, இதுதான் இந்த வீடு. This is a farmhouse. So it should be in vicinity means what? It should be close by. Then only you can call it as a farmhouse. Vicinity. Vicinity na nearby. The farmhouse should be in the immediate vicinity of the land. Next point. The cultivator or receiver of rent in kind. The cultivator or receiver of rent in kind should, by reason of his connection with agricultural land, the cultivator or receiver of rent in kind should, by reason of his connection with the agricultural land, requires the building as a dwelling house. Requires the building as a dwelling house or as a storehouse or as a storehouse or as a outside outhouse னு சொல்லுவோம். Outhouse னு கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? முன்னாடி வீடுகள்ல how many of you have seen, I don't know. Earlier days people used to build houses in a fairly large piece of land. இப்போ எல்லாம் லேண்ட் கிடைக்கிறதே கஷ்டம் சிட்டில. இப்போ வீடு கட்டணும்னா ஒரு கிரவுண்ட் லேண்ட் வாங்கினாலே என்ன விலைன்னு தெரியும் உங்களுக்கு. ஸோ இப்போ கஷ்டம் அது. பட் முன்னாடி என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, they will buy, let us say 2-3 grounds of land. நல்ல ஒரு பெரிய வீடு கட்டுவாங்க. அந்த அந்த காம்பவுண்ட் வால்குள்ளே இன்னொரு தனியாக ஒரு வீடு இருக்கும். அதுக்கு பேர் என்னன்னா அவுட் ஹவுஸ் சொல்லுவோம். Have you heard of that? அவுட் ஹவுஸ் சொல்லுவோம். அது வந்து ஒரு ஸ்மால் ஹால், மேபி ரூம், பாத்ரூம் அது மாதிரி இருக்கும். ஸோ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் டிபிக்கலி தீஸ் ஹவுசஸ் யாராவது அவுட் சைடர்ஸ் வந்தாலோ இல்லை ஃபேமிலி கெஸ்ட் யாராவது வந்தால் கூட அங்கே தங்குவாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் முன்னாடி உண்டு, இப்போ அதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. அதுக்கு பாப்புலரா அதுக்கு பேர் என்னன்னா அவுட் ஹவுஸ்னு பேர். இது பேர் என்ன? அவுட் ஹவுஸ். Have you heard of this? Maybe not, because it was prevalent earlier. இப்பெல்லாம் கிடையாது. So this is something like an outhouse, where in a land you are having it alongside the land, and where you use it for storage or any purposes. All of you are clear? So that is what we call it as a farmhouse. The next point, I'll repeat. The cultivator or receiver of rent in kind should, by reason of his connection with the agricultural land, requires the building as a dwelling house or as a storehouse or other outbuilding. Okay, clear? So I am going very slow. I hope all of you are understanding. I am not rushing it at all, so that you get the concept clear. So what is agricultural income? What are all types of agricultural income? What you should do to call it as an agricultural income? Every single aspect we are discussing in as much detail as possible. So any doubts at any point of time, you please feel free to stop me. Okay, right. The next point, the land is assessed. Continuation, fourth point. The land is assessed to land revenue or local rate or alternative, the land is situated in rural area. That is, the land is assessed to land revenue. Land revenue na artham agricultural land mari, okay, or at a local rate, or alternative, the land is situated in a rural area. Same definition நம்ம capital gains க்கும் பார்த்தோம். Same definition. The land should be in a rural area to call it as a farmhouse. Okay. So if I am going to have a small house here and do agricultural activity, and I cannot call this as a farmhouse, which is income exempt from tax, because that doesn't fit into the definition of a rural area. This is not a rural area. So to call something as a farmhouse, it should be in what area? Rural area, and used for agricultural operations. Okay. In fact, in income tax, for long years now, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, whatever, agricultural income is always exempt from tax. Normally, there is something called tax planning. There is something called tax planning. There is something called tax avoidance. There is something called tax evasion. Correct? These three things you would have heard of: tax planning, tax avoidance, tax evasion. Now, if you want to avoid tax, what activity you can do in India? You want to avoid tax, what activity you can do in India? You can derive income in thousands and lakhs or crores, but it's all exempt from tax. You can reconstruct the building. இல்ல நான் என்ன கேட்கிறேன்னா, tax avoidance, tax planning, tax evasion. இது மூணுத்துக்கு என்ன வித்தியாசம்? Tax evasion na, you are bound to pay tax, but you are evading it or not paying it. It is something like unlawful. It is punishable in the court of law. You all agree? Evading tax. You can even hide income and evade tax. உங்களுக்கு வர income disclose பண்ணாம evade பண்ணா அதுக்கு பேர் என்ன? Tax evasion. Tax planning na என்ன? I have income, I am planning my income and I am trying to avail benefits under the Income Tax Act by planning my tax correctly. For example, I can probably plan to invest in 80C investments, 80D medical insurance, or if it is a capital gain, we discuss about exemptions available section 54 onwards. I have to buy another house. All that I can do by way of what? Tax planning. So by tax planning, I can reduce my tax obligation. Tax avoidance. Can I avoid tax? I can avoid tax by doing certain things. What comes on top of your mind? Agricultural income, exactly. 1.5 மணி நேரமா அதுதான் பேசிட்டு இருக்கோம். 1 மணி நேரமா. நீங்க டாக்ஸ் அவாய்ட் பண்ணணும்னா என்ன பண்ணலாம்? அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கம். நல்ல ஏர் கலப்பை எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்துட்டு பேனா பென்சில் அப்படி ஓரமா வச்சுட்டு ஏறு கலப்பை எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்துட்டு ஒரு முண்டாசை கட்டிட்டு இறங்கினோம்னா எத்தனை கோடி வேணா சம்பாதிக்கலாம். நீங்க டாக்ஸே கிடையாது. நம்ம தான் படிச்சுட்டு ஏஐசிடபிள்யூஏசிஎஸ் போட்டு ஆஃபீஸில் திட்டு வாங்கிட்டு ப்ரெஷர், பணம், சம்பளம், டாக்ஸ். Just telling you, okay. What I mean to say is, agricultural income gardu அந்த காலத்துலேருந்தே exempt சொல்ல வரேன். So it's a big area where people earn crores, they don't pay any tax. Because agricultural income is done by different types of people. Even big zamindars அந்த காலத்துல சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, அவங்க எல்லாம் acres of land வச்சிருப்பாங்க. அவங்க எல்லாம் they may do lot of activities and earn lot of income, but it's all exempt. So if you want to avoid tax, do certain things by which you can avoid it. Okay, there is a very thin line of difference between planning and avoidance. Avoidance means more broader in nature. Planning is more narrower. So I need to plan my taxes in such a way my outflow is restricted. Okay, so agricultural income அப்படி. அதே மாதிரி இன்னொரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்றேன். Income of a political party is exempt from tax. You all know that. If you want to avoid tax, you start a political party. தெரியுமா? தெரியாதா? Income of a political party is exempt from tax. பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டிக்கு இன்கம் வரும். எப்படி வரும் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டிக்கு இன்கம்? டொனேஷன்ஸ். அது ஒரு பெரிய ஸ்டோரி. You want to start a political party and avoid tax, you meet me separately as a consultant. I'll give you what to do. So if you want to avoid tax, you can start a political party. அதோட இன்கம்லாம் இன்கம் டேக்ஸ் லால எக்ஸம்ட். அது ஏன் அப்படின்னா அது நிறைய பேக்ரவுண்ட் ஸ்டோரிலாம் இருக்கு. கான்ஸ்டியூஷன், பிளா பிளா பிளா, பீப்புள் ரெப்ரசன்டேஷன், அது ஒரு ப்ராடர் டேர்ம். ஸோ நான் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டி, எனக்கு நிறைய டொனேஷன்ஸ் வந்துட்டே இருக்கு. ஐ கேன் ஃபார்ம் இட் லைக் அ ட்ரஸ்ட் ஆர் வாட் எவர். ஸோ அந்த இன்கம் எல்லாம் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டிக்கு வரும். எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ ட்ரஸ்ட்டுங்கிற கான்செப்ட் இந்தியாவில் எப்படி வந்தது அப்படின்னா, லைக் income tax la income of a trust is also exempt. You all know that. If I form a trust, I can be the trustee. I will have all in the trust, but I am not the owner of it. I am only a trustee. புரியுதா? அப்போ என்ன அட்வான்டேஜ் அதுல? நான் ஓனர், நான் தான் ட்ரஸ்டி, எல்லாம் எங்கிட்ட தான் இருக்கு, ஆனா நான் ஓனர் இல்லை. இது எப்படி இருக்கு? நல்லா இருக்கா? நல்லா இல்லையா? புரியலையா? ஆன்லைன் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், no reaction, silent.
Sir,
keep talking. I have kept my earphone on my ears, so you can keep talking. I can hear you.
sir, will NPO come under tax avoidance?
NPO, if you form it as a trust, yes. Non-profit organizations can be formed as a society, as a trust and all that. If you form your NPO under a trust act and carry out non-profit activities, then it is not accepted, subject to conditions. Okay, let me not deviate, but இதெல்லாம் வந்து avoidance-காக example கொடுக்குறேன். So agricultural income is a very good example for tax avoidance. You can avoid your tax. I am working in World Bank. I get monthly 5 lakh salary. Is it taxable? No. Not taxable. Income from World Bank is not taxable. இங்க வேர்ல்ட் பேங்க் எங்க இருக்கு? சென்னையில தெரியுமா? or வேர்ல்ட் பேங்கோட பேக் ஆஃபீஸ் ஆபரேஷன்ஸ் எங்க இருக்கு தெரியுமா? சுவிட்சர்லாந்து, நியூயார்க். வேர்ல்ட் பேங்கோட ப்ராசஸிங் சென்டர் ஒரு பேக் ஆஃபீஸ், accounting and other back office services எங்க இருக்கு? Where is it in located? General knowledge question. Online students, anyone can answer this?
Sir, I have seen their office somewhere in Chennai, but I don't know if it's their main head office or not.
No, வேர்ல்ட் பேங்கோட ஹெட் ஆஃபீஸ் இல்ல நம்ம பேசுறது, அதோட பேக் ஆஃபீஸ்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா? ஸோ குளோபல் ஆபரேஷன்ஸோட பேக் ஆஃபீஸ் தெரியுமா இருக்கு? சென்னை. ரைட், இது சென்னை. சென்னையில் எங்க இருக்கு?
Taramani, sir.
தரமணி. குட். உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா அது? தெரியாது. தரமணி, சென்னை. Why? In fact, you will not believe, when World Bank was trying to decide where to locate this back office operations, you know, obviously they'll check the whole world. Inga pannalantu. Anga they boiled down to India, and in India they boiled down to Chennai. You know why did they opt for Chennai? You feel happy about it because they came to know Chennai is the best place for accountants. So நாளைக்கு நீங்க குவாலிஃபை ஆகி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அப்ளிகேஷன் வேர்ல்ட் பேங்க் போடுங்க. உங்க இன்கம் எக்ஸாம்ட். யூ செட் இட் ரைட். இன்கம் ஃப்ரம் வேர்ல்ட் பேங்க் under the income tax law is exempt from tax. What is it? If you want to avoid tax, you go and join in World Bank. One of my students is in World Bank. சுத்தமா டாக்ஸ் கிடையாது. இன்கம் ஃப்ரம் வேர்ல்ட் பேங்க், ஏன்னா அது வந்து சார்ட் ஆஃப் ரெகக்னிஷன். இன்கம் tax gives them that recognition of not taxing your income. Understood? All of you are clear? So this is an example for tax. If you want to avoid tax, you do certain things. Okay. So agricultural activity comes under that. So we need to be very clear as to what is an agricultural income, what is not an agricultural income. Anything to do with an agricultural activity is an agricultural income. If not, it is not. I'll give you some examples. Income from poultry farming. Is it agriculture or non-agriculture?
Non-agriculture.
Income from poultry farming. Poultry farming na enna? கோழி பண்ணை. கோழி பண்ணை. Income from operating a கோழி பண்ணை. Is it taxable or exempt? Taxable. Exempt. Exempted. See, the question is income from poultry farming is exempt. உங்களுக்கு ஒரு க்ளூ கொடுக்குறேன், அதாவது ஒரு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஒரு டெக்னிக் சொல்றேன். Whenever you get a question or something of this nature, the first thing you need to do is translate it into your own language. உங்க தாய்மொழியில அதை மொழி பெயர்த்துக்கோங்க. ஒரு கொஸ்டின் எக்ஸாம்ல வருது, உங்களுக்கு அவன் என்ன சொல்ல வரான் அப்படிங்கிறது இன்டர்பிரேட் பண்ண வரல அப்படின்னா நீங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்ன பண்ணுங்க, translate it into your own language. Then you'll get an answer. Because poultry farmingனாலே கோழி பண்ணை. கோழி பண்ணைக்கும் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் ஆபரேஷனுக்கும் என்ன சம்பந்தம்? இது நம்ம வந்து ரொம்ப திங்க் பண்ணலாம் வேண்டாம். பவுல்ட்ரி ஃபார்மிங்க்கும் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் ஆபரேஷனுக்கு என்னப்பா சம்பந்தம்? நாத்து நடுறோமா? தண்ணி பாய்ச்சுறோமா? தண்ணி பாய்ச்சுறோமா? அதுவும் க்ரோயிங், கோழியும் க்ரோயிங். அதனால அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் புரியுதா? ஸோ கோழி பண்ணைக்கும் இதுக்கும் ஸ்நான பிராப்தி கிடையாதுன்னு சொன்னோம். அப்போ இங்கேதான் உங்களுடைய ஜெனரல் நாலேஜ் அண்ட் லாஜிக்கல் கன்க்ளூஷன்ஸ் ரொம்ப ஹெல்ப் ஆகும் எக்ஸாம்ல. ஏன்னா எக்ஸாம்ல இது மாதிரி ஏதாவது கேட்கும்போது யூ ஷுட் பி ஏபிள் டு அப்ளை த லாஜிக் ஹியர். How come? Unless the law specifically says How come you relate agricultural income and poultry farming? விவசாயங்கிறது வேற, கோழி பண்ணங்கிறது வேற. But having said that, there are few more examples that give you. Income derived from land let out for storing crops. Income derived from land let out for storing crops. Agricultural income. இப்போ நீங்க டெஃபினிஷனை பாருங்க. டெஃபினிஷன் ஆஃப் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கம் கொடுத்தேன் இல்லையா, அதுல ஃபிட்டா இருந்தா பாருங்க. இதுல ஒண்ணுமே கிடையாது. You are having a land and you are giving it on rental to store crops, but you are not doing any agricultural activity. அதுல ரெவென்யூ வருது உங்களுக்கு, அது அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கமா? கிடையாது. இங்கதான் நான் சொன்னேன், you have to interpret it correctly. So நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க, ஜெனரலா நம்மளுடைய டெண்டன்சி ஒரு கொஸ்டின்ல கிராப் லேண்ட்னு பார்த்தாலே என்ன ஜனதாட்டிக் தான் agricultural income. So you all jump into conclusion without reading it fully. Doesn't mean that any land crop வந்து agricultural income கிடையாது. அது நீங்க ஏதா பண்ணாதான் agricultural income. யாருக்கோ லேண்டுக்கு நீங்க வாடகை கொடுக்குறீங்க, crop store பண்றது இட்ஸ் நாட் an income from sale of wild grass from spontaneous growth. Is it agricultural? Income from sale of wild grass which is spontaneously grown. Is it an agricultural income? No. Yes or no? No. Why no? If you say no. Exactly. Good. I'm happy. Now you got it. முடிச்சிட்டீங்க பாயிண்ட் சார். அது பாட்டு வளருது சார், நீங்க என்ன இல்லையா அதெல்லாம் போய் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் அப்புறம் என்ன இருக்கும்? You understood what is agricultural income now only after 1.5 hours of discussion. Clear? So spontaneous growth of grass and you cut it and sell it and you make some income out of it, that is not agricultural income because there is no activity involved. You have not grown the grass by watering it or doing something, plowing it. This is an interesting point. Interest on capital received by a partner from the firm engaged in agricultural operations. It is an agricultural income. Interest received by a partner, like share of a firm profits, Mari. Interest received by a partner on his capital from a firm engaged in agricultural operations. It's an agricultural income because the income is generated out of agricultural operations. Income from growing flowers and creepers. Income from growing flowers and creepers. Do you know that there is a company in India which is actually growing flowers? I think flower, they have acres of land where they are growing flowers and exporting it like rose. Acres of land. மதுரை பக்கம்லாம் போனா acres of landல மல்லி இருக்கும், மதுரை மல்லி. Anyone of you from Madurai side? No? Have visited Madurai? Anyone of you visited Madurai? Yeah. Kovil, yeah. Madurai malli is very famous. It's exported to various countries. You know that? So, if you are growing flowers, creepers, and earning income out of it, is it an agricultural activity and income from agriculture? The answer is
yes, sir.
Yes. Good. Income from growing flowers and creepers is something you do as an activity and not something automatic. It's an agricultural activity, agricultural income. These are all examples of what is agricultural income and what is not an agricultural. Okay, I hope you got the idea. Now coming to this partially agricultural, partially non-agricultural. Now make a very important, அடிக்கடி எக்ஸாம்ல வரக்கூடியது, make a note. Tax treatment of income which is partly agricultural and partly from business. Tax treatment of income which is partly agricultural and partly from business. Make a note. Rules. These are all the rules which gives you as to how to do the tax treatment of income partially from agriculture, partially from business. I already told you tea business, coffee business. So make a note, growing and manufacturing of tea in India. Growing and manufacturing of tea in India. Growing and manufacturing. So you are actually growing tea and manufacturing tea. That means you are processing and selling it. Non-agricultural income is 40% and agricultural income is 60%. So growing of tea. This is rule 8. As per rule 8. As per rule 8, if you are going to carry on an operation of growing tea and manufacturing tea, then the income varudhu profit income gardu P&L or net profit. Generally, to understand. Other 40% is what? Non-agriculture. 60% is agriculture. Second, sale of centrifuged latex or senex. Latex, centrifuged latex or senex. Rubber, basically rubber. Centrifuged latex or senex, etc. So rubber 3565. Rule 7A. Very important, dear students. Very, very important. Every mark counts in professional course. 1 mark MCQ la vanda kuda enna? 1 mark. Sale of coffee grown and cured by seller. Grown and cured by seller. இது வந்து grown and cured மட்டும்தான். ஏன்னா growing and curingனாலே அது மேனுஃபேக்சரிங், அதை ட்ரை பண்ணி பண்றது. ஏன்னா காஃபி பீன் அப்படியே நீங்க விற்க முடியாது, அதுக்கு நிறைய ப்ராசஸஸ் இருக்கு. அந்த ப்ராசஸ்லாம் பண்ணி கத்தால அது பார்ஷியலி பிஸ்னஸ், பார்ஷியலி அக்ரிகல்ச்சர். அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் ஆக்டிவிட்டியில வந்து ஒரு ஸ்டேஜ் வரைக்கும் தான், அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்க அதை ஃபர்தரா ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணி பண்றதுன்னா மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் அது. ஏன்னா மிஷின்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணி பண்ணுவீங்க அது. ஸோ அது 2575. Rule 7B1. And lastly, sale of coffee grown and cured, roasted and grounded by seller without chicory, etc. With or without chicory or other ingredients. Coffee, இப்போ Tata coffee னு வருது. Grow, cure, process, add ingredients, chicory, blah, 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 and sell it. Then that's 40%. Understood? Okay, this is the set of rules which is giving you the breakup of agriculture, non-agriculture. Non-agriculture business. So this will be taxable, this will be exempt. But other than this, if you are, as I said, you are growing sugarcane and processing sugarcane and making sugar, then the mechanism is slightly different, not the split. Other than this, anything else which is a combination of agriculture and non-agriculture, how to do the exercise. Make a note. In any other case, rule 7, very important rule. In any other case other than above, for splitting up the agriculture non-agricultural income, very important, whatever market value of input you are using. Now carefully understand. I am doing a sugarcane business. I am growing sugarcane. I am processing sugarcane. I am using it as an input for my manufacturing process and I make sugar out of it. I sell sugar. So in my P&L, I'm going to have sale of sugar, 100 rupees. To cost of sugar cane, market value of sugar cane. What I grow? நான் grow பண்ற sugar cane ஓட market value 60 ரூபா. அந்த 60 ரூபா sugar cane தான் நான் process பண்ணி என்னவா விற்கிறேன்? சுகரா விற்கிறேன். So I can claim this as a cost. So my profit is only what? 40. This is what is my business income. So I am allowed to claim the input cost, which is equivalent to the market value of the input what I use for manufacturing something, my own product. And the balance is what is business income. So make a note for disintegrating a composite income, disintegrating or splitting. Disintegrating of business, composite business income, which is partly agricultural and partly non-agricultural. The market value of any produce or rather agricultural produce, any agricultural produce raised by the assessee or received as rent in kind. As rent in kind and utilized as a raw material in his business. Utilized as a raw material in his business is deducted. That is, whatever is the market value of that raw material is treated as a cost and deducted. And no other expenses for agriculture will be allowed. So, in agricultural operations, any expense pannalo adu ignore pannidum, because you are allowed to take that market value. For simple market value, you can determine from revenue authorities. Today, in the sugar cane ton enna vela abingra mari. Need not be the government fixed rate. It can be the market rate, actual market rate. For நிறைய companies, can you name few sugar manufacturing companies? Can you name few sugar manufacturing companies who manufacture and sell sugar? No, I didn't. Sugar? Parry sugar கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? அந்த கம்பெனி பேர் என்ன? Parry is the brand. கம்பெனி பேர் என்ன? Parry's sugar னு வரும். PARRYS. ஜெனரல் நாலேஜ் பயங்கர ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருக்கீங்க. அதுக்கெல்லாம் டைம். How many of you are in my Telegram channel? You are there? உங்களுக்கு நான் அனுப்புறேன் லிங்க். Are you seeing the daily current affairs and all of you are seeing that? All of you are going through that? No? Online students? Online students, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
All of you are going through my Telegram channel where I share quiz, general knowledge, current affairs, etc.
Yes, sir. Not regularly, but
Please
yes.
go through that regularly. Have some system in life. You can't do a lot 5 minutes. It's actually going to take 2 minutes. I already told you my YouTube videos when I post free, public, general topics or class topics. Sometime I give it because some students would like to know how our classes are. So அதுக்காக நான் யூடியூப்ல ஃப்ரீயா ஒரு சில வீடியோஸ் மட்டும் தான் கொடுப்பேன். ஜெனரல் வீடியோஸ் இருக்கும், how to study, all that. how to prepare for professional course. YouTube channel இருக்கு.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah. Now only.
Sir, is it GMR group, sir?
No ma, it's not GMR group. Not GMR group.
Sir, EID Pari.
EID Pari. Who said that?
Sai, sir.
Good. EID Pari. EID Pari is a company name. It's where it is located. Wow. என்னப்பா அப்படி இருக்கீங்க நீங்க? எங்க இருக்கு EID Pari கம்பெனி? தெரியாது. EID Pari belongs to a group. That group is named as Dash. EID Pari தெரியாது. சார் குரூப்பை பத்தியெல்லாம் ஏன் சார் கேட்குறீங்க?
Pa.
Sorry?
Murugappa?
Murugappa. So again, who said this?
Me only, sir.
Okay, good. I think your some relatives working there or what? மட்டும் கரெக்டா எல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. குட். முருகப்பா குரூப் கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? அதுல வந்துருக்கு சார் எனக்கு ஒரு தடவை அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட் வீட்டில் டிவியில் போச்சு. What are the companies under Murugappa group? Can you tell me? This is one, another popular company. TA? PSA cycle, correct. Other product, அவங்க company பேர் Tube Investments of India. அந்த company பேரு Tube Investments of India. Murugappa group has got many companies. So the best example for sugar is EID Pari. It is located in Chennai, in Paris corner. Question answer இருக்கு. EID Pari is located in Paris corner. Paris corner எங்க இருக்கு தெரியுமா எல்லாருக்கும்? எங்க இருக்கு? சார் அது எங்கேயோ சார் தெரியும் சார், நான் போயிருக்கேன் சார், சினிமா
Near
கூட போனேன்
Central.
சார். நியர் சென்ட்ரல். Near Central, correct. Near B station. Any one of you walk through that street, Paris?
Yes, sir.
சென்னையில இருந்து அங்கெல்லாம் போலன்னா அதோட ஒரு கொடுமையான விஷயம் எதுவுமே கிடையாது. நான்லாம் சின்ன வயசுல உங்களை மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது அப்படி சுற்றுவேன் அந்த ஏரியாவில். வேலையே அங்கதான் சுத்திட்டே இருப்பாங்க. ஐ யூஸ் டு டு எவ்ரிதிங். ஸோ படிப்புனா படிப்பு மட்டுமே கிடையாது. படிப்பு மட்டுமேன்னா போர் அடிக்கும். படிக்கவும் படிக்கணும், எல்லா வேலையும் சுத்தரும் சாப்பிடணும், எல்லாம் பண்ணணும். அதுதான் நீங்க பண்ண மாட்டேங்கிறீங்க. சும்மா மொபைல் பார்க்கறது, டிவி பார்க்கறது மட்டும் வேலை கிடையாது. Why I'm telling this is you're all not updating yourself. You are please update yourself. Because in exam they expect big things from you. You are even hesitating to know the basic things. Generally தெரியணும் சில விஷயங்கள். அப்ப எல்லா எக்ஸாம்ல எல்லாமே தியரி புக்ல கொடுத்துருக்க மாட்டான். இதுல எல்லாத்துக்கும் எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுத்துருப்பானா? நான் கிளாஸ்ல உங்களுக்கு தெரியறதுக்காக சொல்றேன். ஏன்னா அப்பதான் புரியும். ஓகே, ஒரு மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் கம்பெனினா என்ன கம்பெனி, அது எப்படி பண்றாங்க அப்படிங்கிறது. ஸோ தே ஹேவ் ஃபேக்டரி இன் கடலூர். அண்ட் கடலூர் இஸ் a belt for sugarcane. அங்கெல்லாம் நிறைய grow ஆகுது. Another popular company, not a listed companies, I think, what is that called? Very popular, Rajshri Sugars. Rajshri Sugars. So they are also manufacturers of sugar. I think it's listed or unlisted, I don't know. But EID Pari is a listed company. Got it? So if you're going to operate or a company like a manufacturing company, manufacturing sugar, and you sell sugar and get an income of 100 rupees, the market value of the sugar you grow or buy or whatever, your own input cost. But no other activities you can claim it as an expenditure. All of you are clear? Okay. I'll give an example now. The X Limited grows sugarcane. To manufacture sugar. Very important problem. If you get an agricultural income question, you should come and give me a chocolate. Okay. 5 marks. Nobody is give you 1 mark extra. So 5 marks, I deserve a chocolate. X Limited grows a sugarcane to manufacture sugar. Data of 21-22 is as follows. X Limited is given grows sugarcane to manufacture sugar. Data for the previous year 21-22 is as follows. Particulars rupees in lakhs. Cost of cultivation of sugarcane 4. Sugar 4. Market value of sugarcane used in manufacture 9. Market value of sugarcane used in manufacture of sugar. Market value of sugarcane used in manufacture of sugar 9. Other manufacturing cost 6. Sales turnover of sugar 22. Determine agricultural income and non-agricultural income. So, non-agricultural income, I'll first tell you how to derive it. That is business income. Sales turnover evalapa? Sugar. Less cost of sugarcane, input cost, market value. Market value of the sugarcane used as input is what? Less other manufacturing cost. 6 yeah. So இதுதான் உங்களுக்கு non-agricultural income. Agricultural income எப்படி போடணும்னா very simple. Market value of 9 less agricultural activity cost என்ன கொடுத்திருக்காங்க 4. Cultivation expense 4. இது agricultural income. Anyhow, it's exempt. Non-agricultural income, sales turnover of sugar is 22. The input cost of raw material, sugar cane, market value is 9. Manufacturing expenses you can deduct. So you get a net income of 7 from non-agricultural. And agricultural income. So this is how you need to identify income from manufacturing activity when you are using raw material as agricultural products. All of you are clear? Any doubt in this? So any doubts, online students? All of you are clear, comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Letting out of? Sorry, come again? ஆமா ஆமா ஏன்னா நீங்க சரி அதான் நான் சொல்ற ஆரம்பத்திலேருந்து சொல்ற ஒரே பாயிண்ட் யூ ஷுட் கேரி ஆன் அன் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் ஆப்ரேஷன் அண்ட் ஃபார் தட் பர்பஸ் வாட் எவர் யூ டூ இட்ஸ் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் ஆக்டிவிட்டி பட் திஸ் இஸ் ஜஸ்ட் லைக் லெட்டிங் அவுட் ஆஃப் சம்திங் இந்த பில்டிங் இருக்கு அவன் என்ன சொல்றான் லெட்டிங் அவுட் ஆஃப் சம் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இந்த பில்டிங்ல நான் கிராப்ஸ் எல்லாம் வைக்க கொடுக்குறேன் எனக்கு அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கமா எனக்கு என்ன ஒத்துக்க மாட்டேங்கிறீங்களே நான் எனக்கு கேட்குறேன் இல்லை சார் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கம் இல்லைங்கிறீங்க ஆனால் அதில் என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கு அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கம் சொல்கிறான் ஸோ வாட் ஐ மீன் சேஸ் தட்ஸ் ரியாலிட்டி வென் யூ ஆர் அலோவிங் அ ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி டு பி லெட் அவுட் ஃபார் ஜஸ்ட் ஸ்டோரிங் கிராப்ஸ் இட் இஸ் நாட் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் இன்கம் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ்க்கு என்ன டெஃபினிஷன் உங்கள் ஆக்டிவிட்டிக்கு நீங்கள் பண்ணணும் ஆர் குத்தகை கூடணும் அப்போதான் அது ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் வந்து எலிஜிபிள் ஃபார் பிகமிங் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் ஆப்ரேஷன் ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ்ன்னு சொல்லலையா அவன் அந்த வார்த்தையில் எங்க இருந்து ஃபார்ம் ஹவுஸ் வந்திருக்கு ஆமா இன்கம் டிரைவ் ஃப்ரம் லேண்ட் ஜென்ரலா லெட் அவுட் ஃபார் ஸ்டோரிங் சம்திங் கிடையாது ஸோ வி நீட் டு பி அதனால தான் நான் வந்து ஸ்பெண்ட் லாட் ஆஃப் டைம் in making you understand what is farm house, what is not a farm house, what is agricultural, what is non-agricultural, what is an agricultural land, what is not an agricultural land, what is an agricultural operation, what is not an agricultural operation. இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு ப்ராப்பரா தெரிஞ்சாதான் நம்ம கன்க்ளூசிவா சொல்ல முடியும் இப்போ நீங்க யார் கேட்டாலும் சொல்லிடுவீங்க எந்த இன்டர்வியூல கேட்டாலும் யார் கேட்டாலும் straight answer. You all know it better now. I hope you are clear. So we need to have a lot of clarity. Conceptual clarity is very, very important, very fundamental. Without that, we can't go anywhere. So spend quality time in understanding things properly. Build up your general knowledge, my dear students. You will never get at when you are 20, 30 year old, general knowledge. ஏன்னா அப்போ வருதுதான் அப்போ இப்போலாம் என்ன வேர்ல்டு ஓடின்னு இருக்கு, என்ன காம்படிட்டிவ் எக்ஸாம்ஸ் அது இதுன்னு ஓடின்னு இருக்கு. நீங்க ஜென்ரல் நாலேஜ்ல வந்து இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணாதான் உங்களுக்கு ஃபியூச்சர் பெட்டரா இருக்கும். ஸோ டெய்லி ஸ்பெண்ட் சம் டைம். நான் அதுக்காக தான் மெனக்கெட்டு உங்களுக்கு டெலிகிராம் சேனல்ல கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் அண்ட் ஜென்ரல் நாலேஜ் தான் அப்பப்போ போட்டுருக்கேன். ப்ளீஸ் see that. I have told you 100 times. You are all so casual about these things. Just update yourself. Read newspaper. Buy a newspaper. All this mobile phone, laptop, blah, blah will go in another 10 years. In the sense, everything will become different. Okay. So you cannot gain a knowledge from this, I'm telling you. You will never be able to gain any knowledge from this. You will only be able to see something. என்ன ஒரு டவுட் இருக்குன்னா பார்க்கலாம், என்னன்னு டிஏடி பேரிங்கன்னா முருகப்பா குரூப் பார்க்கலாம். ஆனா இதை பார்த்தே நீங்க முருகப்பா குரூப்ங்கிறது ஏடி பேருன்னு நீங்க ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்க முடியாது. This is not a book. Let us understand one thing. This doesn't have the ability to give you that memory. It is like passing clouds. So don't rely on mobile phone for everything. Buy a newspaper, a general newspaper and a business newspaper. Compulsory. You read. In fact, you will not believe, my dear students. I'll tell you my own example. Today, I am not able to read a newspaper because of using this mobile phone. I have lost that, I shouldn't say, I lost that interest or whatever you might call to read a newspaper for 10 minutes. Because I find difficult to read a para. அதே தான் உங்களுக்கும் புக்கு படிக்கும்போது ஆகும். ஒரு பேராவை 10 நிமிஷம் பொருந்தி உங்களால படிக்கிறது கஷ்டம். ஏன்னா நீங்க அந்த பிராக்டிஸே போயிடுது மொபைல் போன் பார்த்து. So please buy newspapers, a general newspaper and a business newspaper. Compulsory. No compromise. I have already told you, please open a DMAT account. Compulsory, no compromise. Earlier batch நான் சொன்னேன், யாரும் கேட்கல. DMAT account is for knowledge. Not for trading, not for making money. You open a DMAT account, you find out what sort of information you get out of that. கம்பெனிலால எத்தனை வேணா நீங்க படிக்கலாம், ஆனா பிராக்டிக்கலா அது பார்க்கலாம். நீங்க டிமேட் அக்கௌண்ட் ஓபன் பண்ணா உங்களுக்கு ஒரு காப்பி ஆஃப் நோட்டீஸ் வரும், ஏஜிஎம் நோட்டீஸ் வரும். யூ வில் see everything. A few things you need to definitely do. Then only it will enhance your knowledge. Okay. So kindly subscribe for a newspaper and allot some time, half an hour maximum, then you will get to know things. இதெல்லாம் வருது, எல்லாமே வருது. உங்க அகாடமிக் ரிலேட்டட்லாம் கூட நிறைய வருது. So kindly make sure. Okay guys, good. So I think we made a good start today. We have few more things left out. The last aspect in agricultural income, where we are going to discuss about this integration of, I told you, agricultural, non-agricultural, for tax purposes. For the limited purpose of determination of tax. Okay, we'll go through that in the next class. With that, we'll be completing the topic on agricultural income. After that, I'll be most probably taking you through taxability of assessment procedure and all that. And then lastly come to assessment of individuals, firms, etc. So any doubts, online students?
No doubt, sir.
Okay, great. So tomorrow as such, I have not planned for any class for intermediate because as I said, I have completed strategic management and I'll be,
Sir,
yeah.
you said there was a small part of strategic management.
I'll cover that separately, definitely. I remember that part. I will do that. Maybe if not tomorrow, I'll do that. And I'll be starting a new batch for strategic management. I'll tell you when it is. Okay, whether it's on a Sunday or a Saturday or what it is, or any other weekday. See, any other weekday, we were discussing yesterday also. Just give me a minute. I'll finish the class. Okay. I'll stop recording now. Okay.